Hello everyone. So plus 30 years later, Eddie Murphy and his team have come up with Coming to America. This is a sequel to the 1970s Coming to America, but there's a letter 2 in the title now this time. So this debuted on Amazon Prime this weekend and it clocks in at just under an hour and 50 minutes long. So without further ado, let me get into my review for this sequel. So after 30 years, Eddie Murphy's character has been living in his home nation as the prince of his nation, and his father's health is deteriorating and there's a lot of pressure on him to one, take over as king and then have a rightful heir to the throne. In his country, there can't be any female leaders, only queens, and he has had 3 daughters in the 30-year time span. So his father is pressuring him big to have a son so he can continue on the rightful traditions of his country's rule. We also find out that for 30 years, the enemy nation has been very mad because of the arranged marriage that Eddie Murphy's character rejected, and the bride he was supposed to marry is still barking like a dog 30 years later because he never broke her from that curse. And they are waging war if they're not able to have an arranged marriage to tie the 2 nations together. So his character, of course, doesn't want to marry off one of his daughters to a tyrannical leader who doesn't have any sons he finds fit for his daughter. But then he gets news that he has a bastard son in America. So his task is to go there, find his son, and bring him back to marry one of the daughters of this war chief to bring peace between the 2 lands so war doesn't come. So a lot of this movie takes place in his own country. We only get a little bit of him in America, and that's basically just retrieving his son. The rest of it goes all about traditions and kingship and like the comedy and everything within the host nation itself. I do have to admit, like, the first half of this movie, I thought it was one of the worst films I've seen in a long time. I was even really justifying if this movie needed a sequel, if it just felt more like a cash grab. It still kind of does. But, yeah, the first half of this movie is just full of really sexist or just racy humor, fart jokes, all the stuff that I don't really find that funny or hard to pull off or conjure up in your mind. So it was really tough to get through. But then the movie starts going into breaking family traditions, femininity, and a whole bunch of other like really good concepts that it doesn't, I mean, it's nothing profound, nothing new that it does with it, but it makes it a little more entertaining. The jokes get a little bit better. The characters starts to become a little more static and evolve a little more past, like I said, their own traditions, because they're breaking through a lot of things that were toxic about the culture, that were really diminishing the rights of women, the power of women. And even the main character, of course, I didn't like him at first. Or I should say the son, I didn't like him at first. He basically is just there to mooch and almost in a sense steal from Eddie Murphy's character and his family, but then he starts to realize his responsibilities, his own morals and his goals, that he doesn't want this arranged marriage just like his father before him. And like I said, it becomes a lot more enjoyable because the characters start to grow a little bit more and the humor does get better, but nothing too special. Overall, like I said, this movie isn't really worth, I think, being a sequel. Some of the performances are funny, but again, it's nothing groundbreaking. There's a lot of really gross humor, but that's, I said, mostly in the first half of the movie. It's really tough to get through. I mean, if you're having trouble watch it, I would say maybe just like skip over a little bit and gets to the second half of the movie. It kind of starts to shine, see its colors a little bit, and do better things for it that, like I said, make it an enjoyable movie. The soundtrack is pretty decent too, and some of the set pieces, the costumes and all of that are really beautiful, full of culture, full of color, and I did really like seeing that on screen. The costume design in this movie is really, really cool. Some of the dance numbers are pretty funny too. And like there's comedy and then good music in terms of the music choices that they do too. So I applaud them for that, and there's some funny scenes. But kind of with all of this taken together, Coming to America didn't really deserve to be a sequel because it doesn't add anything to it too much, and it does kind of turn out to be really similar to the story that the first one told. So with, like I said, everything taken together, I'm going to give Coming to America a 6 out of 10. So if you've seen this movie, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below, and you can, like I said, you can check it out on Amazon Prime. It's just about an hour and 50 minutes long, but of course, if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. Check out everything I do on my Twitch, on my YouTube, and my playlist. I'm in the description down below. If you like what you see there, of course, subscribe and turn the ringer on if you want to know when I upload new videos. But awesome, guys.